Welcome to Forging a Life podcast with Coach Christine Clark. Forging a Life is a Sunglow transformation production aired on Transformation Talk Radio and all your favorite podcast platforms. If you own a business, have a side hustle, desire to make the leap into self-employment, or just love human interest stories, Forging a Life podcast is for you. Christine Clark is an internationally certified transformational life coach. She is the coach for your entrepreneurial life, and these are her people. Jump into the fire with those forging success on their own terms with courage, tenacity, and resilience. These are men and women you could easily meet on the street in your own community. Gain wisdom, insight, knowledge, and inspiration each episode as these business owners get transparent with Coach Christine Clark, sharing their passions, challenges, and origin stories. This is Forging a Life.
Hello, this is Coach Christine Clark, and I am delighted to have with me today Tasha Millard. Tasha is a solo entrepreneur with Socially Appealing. There are so many different things that you do, Tasha. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where you work out of, and all the different things that you are providing as services to people.
Yes, thank you so much, Christine, for having me. It's an honor to be on your show here. I am Socially Appealing, and the company has been around for about a year now here in 2020. The idea came because I started running a social media page for the company I was working for, and someone came to me and said, well, would you do my page? Well, of course, I love running social media. I love everything about Facebook. I went to school for my marketing degree. Well, that's not essentially what I was going for, but I still kind of feel like I have a knack for marketing and kind of how to get a message to people. The next company just asked, well, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And I didn't want to turn any business away. So I just kept saying yes, yes, yes. And if I didn't know how, I learned how. And if I couldn't learn how or didn't want to invest in materials, then I started subcontracting out projects and then selling it as my own.
So what kinds of things have you done for people recently?
I make business cards. I have designed flyers for special events and done the print on those. Recently got into website design. Just last week, we added commercials and billboards. I'm super excited about that project. That's a service that we're going to offer going forward. I can design and print anything that you need. And if your website is looking for a makeover, or if you don't have one with COVID, the Uber Eats, Grubhub, things like that, that's upping right now. So I'm helping a lot of restaurants get their menus online because that wasn't necessarily something they needed before. It was more of a luxury, but now it's definitely a need. Just kind of sprucing up their media as kind of the pandemic has led everybody to more social media and more staying connected via the computer.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. Tell me a little bit about your journey to get here. You're fairly new in your business. If I'm right, did you just recently step away from having another full-time job, so you are now flying totally solo as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, like 2020 wasn't crazy enough, so here I go, right? I'm going to quit my job that I've been at for 5 years, and I was happy there, 100% happy. I'm going to step back all the way to my college when I decided to go back to college, if that's okay for you. Just go from there. So when I was 28, I was dating a guy, and as the story goes, I got pregnant. I was cleaning houses at the time, serving or bartending. I knew that that wasn't going to be sustainable, the nights and weekends, and that gets long. And I really wanted more of a career. Before that, I had kind of, right out of high school, I went to college, and I would get the next highest paying job. I was $10 an hour. And then I was like, well, I guess I don't need college to make money. I would want a raise, and they'd say, where's your piece of paper and, your degree? And so I'd go back to school and be, okay, I'm trying. And then I'd get the next dollar raise and I can't really pay for student loans anyway, so I'm just going to do this and this will be my career. That just kind of repeated itself. I joke that I have the longest 2-year degree. It took me 12 years to get my 2-year degree. When I was going to have a baby, I decided I need to go back to college, and then I made it my goal to get my degree by the time I was 30. I felt that was like a fun round number, and no matter what it took, well, that happened. I graduated from DMAC with my marketing degree. And then right out of school, I applied for so many companies. It's sickening. And they were like, well, where's your experience? Where's your marketing experience? I'd had all these jobs, but I'd never had marketing experience. It was just office experience. So I'd ran into a friend of mine and he says, hey, I own a flooring store. Why don't you come work for me? I'm like, no, that is not what I went to school for. I am getting a marketing job. Totally appreciate the opportunity, but it's not for me right now. So a couple months later, I'm still applying, and he messages me and he's like, hey, are you ready to come work for me yet? And I was finally like, you know what? Yes. Sales has got to be close enough to marketing. It was a commission based, so there was no ceiling on your income cap. And that was very appealing to me at the time. So I got into flooring sales, carpet, tile, all that kind of stuff. And their social media was running, I would say, but not up to par.
Right.
Well, since I had my personal page on Facebook and I'm a daily poster, some people avoid it at all costs, but I love Facebook. I love how it keeps in touch with people. And so I just offered, let me try and help you spruce up some things. And so I kind of took it over there. The word got out that I could do, who was doing their page, and people just started asking me to run their social media. At first I was like, yeah, I'll just help you out. And someone came to me and they're like, why aren't you charging for this? Oh, I guess I didn't realize I could. That's kind of how socially appealing, if you break it down in the logo, it says social app. So it's socially appealing. I just kind of started it, and it was super part-time for me. I still had this Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and then every other Saturday. So it was just way extra cash. As the pandemic came, fast forward, that was 2015. So we fast forward to 2020. I didn't have daycare. The pandemic shut down a lot of daycares, and I didn't want her to go to a center, and it shut down the school. The school daycare is where she was going. And so my mom was my backup plan. Well, my stepdad is autoimmune. If she was going to be there, she had to stay there. She couldn't go out to the public and then come back, if you know what I'm saying.
Right, yeah. Your daughter went and spent some time with the folks, but then, she wasn't able to go out and socialize. And
so she was there for 6 weeks, and I kind of had a mommy breakdown because I could only see her from 6 feet away, and we tried to do picnics that way, and through the glass window, I just went to my boss and told them, I need to bring my daughter home. I need a week off. I need to spend time with her. I haven't seen her in 6 weeks. For my mental health, this is what I need. No problem, absolutely. But while I was home, I was also able to do a bunch of socially appealing stuff. And I realized how much I could get done. I started crunching numbers and realized that if I was home, it was enough to make more if I was doing that. So I talked to them and, kind of started parting ways afterwards. And it's weird that the pandemic has been so negative to so many, but this has really been my positive. It's going to allow me to homeschool my daughter, virtual school, be home with her. She doesn't have to go back into the school. And it's not that we're opposed to it. Why make the school have one more problem when you're able? It opened my eyes to another opportunity and realized that I could be successful doing this instead of trying to do the full time and getting busier and busier and having socially appealing be a part-time job that was consuming almost all of my nights at home. I would put my daughter to bed, and then all night I'd still have to work on socially appealing stuff.
Yeah, that's huge. If you hadn't had the time at home, you wouldn't have been able to see how much more social appealing work you were able to do and what that could mean for you as far as, income. That's beautiful. It's lovely to have some really good stories come out of, what has happened with the pandemic, with things shutting down. So tell me, what makes you especially good at what you do?
I have a creative brain naturally. Numbers aren't my thing. Creativity is. So I think that helps. Being in the construction industry, my dad is a carpenter and has been for several years, union carpenter. And I used to go to him with side jobs. And if he didn't know how to do it, he hired someone who could. In the same thing with the flooring industry, we specialize in flooring, but in the off chance that you said, hey, do you know a good painter? Or we would make a mistake and, bump a wall or something, we would have to hire a painter to go back and fix that. I think it taught me to, if you don't know how to do it, hire somebody who can and sell it as your own. I have a rule, if you touch it, you make money on it. If I hire out a service, I mark it up and turn around and sell it as my own, the customer really is none the wiser. All customers are looking for is great customer service. Do they want a great deal? You bet. But if you're giving them quality service, most of the time they won't question the price.
Give us an example of when that actually happened for you with Social Appealing.
Yes. The first big project that happened to me on is one of my customers said, hey, do you do videography? We're not looking to spend a ton. And I said, well, I can do it, or I can teach you how to do it on your iPhone. Well, since I work with a lot of contractors, they can build a house from the ground up, but don't ask them to do anything on their iPhone. They're just not super techie. So he wanted me to do it. And I was like, okay, I don't do videography, but my friend does. I called my friend Ben. He told me how much he was going to charge me. I turned around to my customer and said, okay, I can offer this service, but this is what it's going to cost. There was a markup there because I had to go find the service, and I'm going to essentially babysit the project to make sure it goes well. Now, all of a sudden, I went from not offering a service to broadening my horizons. Word of mouth will continually get us both business. So I'm creating a partnership there. Plus, I'm offering bigger services. It's also recently with the project that I was telling you about earlier that I'm so excited to get rolling. Mm-hmm. That's through another partnership as well. It's a company of gals who used to work for news stations. They have all collaborated now and made their own media company. They know TV like the back of their hand. They've been in it for several decades apiece, but they don't want anything to do with the social media. It's not in their wheelhouse. Maybe it's due to their age, or maybe they're not interested in learning it, but they want to offer the service. So now I'm a contractor for them. They're going to offer social media as a service, and now I can offer commercials and billboards. Really just reaching out to your friends, finding businesses with similarities, finding out how you can work together can double your size without doubling your skill set.
There is a phrase that you've used that I absolutely love about growing and being as much as you can be, as much people are going to let you be.
Being in the construction industry, always working with my dad, with side jobs and things like that, if you're willing to put in the work, there's no end. There's no cap on where your services can stop ending as long as you have the time to monitor them and the people that you trust. I'm huge on no income caps. Hourly jobs exhaust me, and even more salary jobs exhaust me. I'm 36 years old and I've never taken a salary position. They say, okay, this is how much you can make per year, but they don't tell you how many hours you're going to work per year.
Right.
Salary isn't for me. If it's for you, great. Sometimes a lot of great benefits come with salary, insurance, paid time off, things like that. You're a solopreneur, so you know that if you don't go to work as a solopreneur, you don't get paid that day. Entrepreneurship does not offer PTO.
Right.
So I'm not saying that there's not benefits, but it's just not for me. If I want to go out and grab a pair of shoes, I think to myself, okay, if I could make one more sale today, I'm going to have enough money to go get those shoes. And I honestly think that stems from, since I was 14, I've served tables or had a bartending job at all times. Even if I had an 8 to 5, I still had a serving job. So I was trained very early that if you want more money, you pick up an extra shift. I was pretty old probably in my 30s before I learned how to save money. I just spent it because I had a mentality of it's just money. I'll make more tomorrow. That can be dangerous. It's also kind of freeing because some people get so stressed out about money. I just don't.
Which is lovely. And what I'm hearing is that growing up, if you wanted something, you had to go create the money to have it.
My folks got a divorce when I was 11, which just means there was less money. You know, there wasn't two incomes all the time. I got my mom's old car, but I had to buy it from her. If we wanted gas money, we had to pay for it. I had to pay for my own insurance. I wasn't allowed to drive unless I was getting good grades. You know, there was gifts, but it wasn't an overabundance of if you want it, you can have it. If you want it, you can earn it. There was allowance opportunities. We were all encouraged to get jobs when we were 14. But I think that does a lot for people. And that's easy to say because I was one. But it teaches you, if you want something, to work for it. And then I feel once you've worked for it, you appreciate it more. I think it teaches you responsibility at an early age, which in turn creates great adults.
Right, right. Tell me a little bit about how marketing has been your thing.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. I remember being young, I'm going to guess high school age, and I saw a makeup commercial. It was for Maybelline or CoverGirl, I can't remember which one, but I thought of an idea, a makeup commercial, but I had no idea, how to get it to anything. Then I noticed that I would drive by other things and think about ways to market it. And I was like, okay, I think maybe this is my calling. If you have a natural talent, if you can look at something and you see numbers, or if you look at something and can see the colors or the design in it, use your natural talents and find something that you enjoy doing. Because they say that if you enjoy what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. My job does not feel like work to me.
There's so much good in what you're doing right now, and I can hear the energy and that you do enjoy it. Fantastic advice. If you've got something that's in your head, if you got something that's a passion or a talent, find a way of aligning that with the work you do so that you can enjoy it. What do you enjoy most about the different aspects or different things you've been able to do for people through socially appealing?
Good question. I like being able to take people's ideas and make them happen, because if we take it to the builder aspect, since construction, is kind of my background there, I can tell someone what I want my house to look like, and a builder can make that happen. I couldn't. Where a builder can look at me and tell me, this is the message I want to get to the people, and I can make that happen for them. So it's really just kind of taking people's visions and getting them to the people how they want it portrayed.
How do you do that?
I don't know. Is that a fair answer? I love people and the way that they think. If someone was trying to start a social media business, or if they're wanting to know how to do their social media better, I would say use light humor. Stay away from the heavy topics, politics, and religion. Show your customer that you're real. Don't always have just a cut and paste message, no personality. People like to know that they're working with real people. It's when you feel stiff and very edited, very one-dimensional with people, that people don't buy into that company. They need to know that they're buying from someone real. Yeah. So you need to make them feel that way.
Show some visibility, show some authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the same goes a long way with actual relationships. Take social media out of that.
Right. Right. People want to see the authentic you. They want to see some transparency, some real reality. You said something to me a while back that you would be as big as anybody will let you be. My guess is that you have stepped up not just through work, but also through other organizations that let you shine?
I do sit on a couple boards. I volunteer a lot. My dad and I joke that I'm the poorest philanthropist that will ever be. I, for some reason, have a knack for raising money for places. I sit on the local softball board as vice president. I am member of subcommittees for the Ankeny Chamber of Commerce, which is a town here in Iowa. Then I also am on the Professional Women in Building as their communications chair, which does the social media there. Mm-hmm. In 2019, I was recognized as the Home Builders Association of Des Moines Member of the Year.
Woohoo!
Yeah, thank you.
Have you ever hesitated or felt doubt, or just you've always known you could do it?
So earlier I said I'm not good at saying no, so I'm going to stand by that. And I'm huge on I say yes and I figure it out later, which can also be a problem, but I usually succeed. My folks really taught me self-confidence. My mom went back to school. She knew that she needed to make more money as an individual, so she went back to nursing school as a single mom of 3 and graduated valedictorian of her nursing class from the same community college I did. And my dad was a hard worker. I can count on one hand the number of days that he ever missed work. He never told me I couldn't go to a job with him. He never told me, no, this job's too hard or whatever. He always dragged me along, and my sisters. I have 2 younger sisters. We were never told, no, you can't. So I don't feel no, I can't.
Have you ever gotten yourself in a position like, how am I going to figure this out?
You bet. Sometimes it just takes time. Sometimes on a rare occasion, I have to go back and be like, you know what, I bit off more than I can chew. But typically, my networking circle is huge, and I love that. Networking is something that I am passionate about. I enjoy it so much. You don't have to have 200 best friends, but you can have people that are in your corner. I really just don't stop until I'm like, who do you know? Who do you know? Can you connect me with? I never stop asking, because as soon as you stop asking, you stop getting answers. And so with as big as my network is, I hardly run into occasions where I can't figure it out. Someone's not willing to help me. On the flip side of that, you receive what you give. So if someone comes to you, I'm always willing to help. If I could just help everybody for free and then have everybody help me for free, I would love that. My daughter said to me one time, she's like, I hate money. Why can't everybody just help each other when they need help? My God, I feel like she's wise beyond her years. I kind of work on that, I guess. I always am willing to help, but on the same time, people hardly ever tell me no when I ask for help. Using your community, but willing to be a part of it as well.
Such wisdom, such words. Thank you, Tasha. When you said, if you stop asking, you stop getting answers, it's like, boom, drop the mic, we're done. It's networking, it's community, but networking isn't just financial, who can buy my services. It's who can I help, and in return, they are willing to help me. You embody that. You really do. I am excited for you, for your future, from being what I would call a parallel entrepreneur by having this full-time job plus your side hustle, and now your side hustle is the job. Just delighted for what your future is going to be as it unfolds. I can just see you rolling. You're just going to continue to add and expand. When you think a year from now, 5 years from now, do you have any idea about what you might be doing or what this is going to look like?
I definitely still want to be doing this. My 5-year plan is to be stable enough for employees.
Awesome.
I think the magic number is you have to be able to sustain their income times 2. I want to be able to have, let's call it 3. We're putting it on air right now, nationwide. You guys are hearing me. In 2025, I want 3 full-time employees.
Awesome. I love the definity of that. I love the time. You've got a specific date. You have a specific goal and 3 full-time employees by 2025.
If you make it public, it puts you accountable, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing like, broadcasting your intentions to the world to make it like, oh, smokes, I have to do this.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for your time. And I am delighted. Lots of wisdom in this. This is going to be fun to share this with the world, share this with people. So thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to being on it again.
The conversation with Tasha was so rich. I want to pull out some of the nuggets and highlight them. So this is Soundbite Extra.
I'm interested in being as big as anybody will let me be.
Yeah, I'm going to be as big as anybody will let me be. If I don't know how to do it, I'll figure out how. If I don't have that service, I'll find someone who does. That simple phrase has so much beautiful energy on it for growth and for success. I love it.
If you can't do it, sub it out.
Mm-hmm.
Mark it up. Anything you touch is 20% if they don't want to go find it themselves.
Yeah, 20%. Sometimes it's hard to draw the line between doing people a favor and providing a service that should actually be monetized. Yes, you want to be generous to those people around you. And remember, nobody's time is more valuable than your own. So if your business is the conduit to provide a service or a product to one of your customers, go ahead and pay yourself for that time. Your value is in it. You are worth it. Thank you for that, Tasha. That was awesome.
When everything stopped, it gave me a true chance to sit back and look at everything I was involved in and say, what do I want to go back to? You don't have to do all these things. You don't have to be in every committee. You don't have to be in every opportunity that comes around. It sounds crazy that the pandemic presented opportunity, but I really just took a second to say, you're not promised tomorrow. It's such an old adage and it's so cliche, but you're just not. And so if you're not doing something that you're passionate about, why are you doing it?
Right. The pandemic really provided a lot of space for us to step back and assess. I've heard this story time and again over the last 8 months where people got a new perspective just because they were able to pull back and take a look. What am I doing? How am I spending my time? What's really important and valuable to me? I love what Tasha says. If you're not passionate about it, why are you doing it? You never promise tomorrow. Every day is precious. So go out and create the life you love one day at a time, doing those things that will bring you joy, bring you happiness, bring you success. Spot on. Thank you for sharing these, Tasha. We appreciate you. This is Coach Christine Clark, and this has been Forging a Life.